Hello Internet, welcome back to our Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead series. In the last episode, we talked at length about some of the changes that have come to labs in the game, and we discussed the kind of new meta that the community has been telling me about. So we were driving basically across where we had driven before in order to get to anything that has a subway or an office tower. Now, the closest town with a subway only has one subway station, and I can't imagine that there's actually a lab down there, but I thought we would stop and check it out anyway. Plus, there are some bookstores and libraries nearby, so those seem like a prudent place for us to check. And that's about it. Welcome back, Internet. I'm excited to be doing something other than driving. I am back. It's a new day. My God, my sound is cranked way up. It's a new day, and I'm excited to be looting again. You know, I'm bringing a fresh attitude. Last episode was not super great, and I'm going to work to be better in this one. So where we left off, we did end the video a bit abruptly due to my neighbor basically weed whacking directly outside my window here. So we were in the process of clearing out some of these enemies, which is just fine and dandy. Are you going to bleed out? Bad bleeding, bad bleeding. I bet you bleed out. So this is going to be mildly tedious to clear into this area. Ultimately, I want to go south here, and we're going to hit these bookstores. But it's going to require us to clear this pool and this park, which is a nightmare. Probably between those two locations, there's probably about 80 enemies in there. Minimally, probably 60, probably closer to 80 or 100. So we're going to have to deal with quite a lot of enemies in that area. We could lure them off and double back, but I prefer to clear things. And keep in mind, so there was a change pretty recently that reduced the frequency of monster spawns in parks by allegedly half, which I don't know if that's an accurate number or not. But this town was generated before that change because we drove through here, so there is very likely going to be a huge percentage of enemies there. And then parks, pools were not touched, so we're going to see a lot of swimmer zombies. And there's a second pool as well. So we may struggle quite a lot to get into this area. It's frustrating, you know, we talk about that all the time. But for now, we're going to clear in, check this doctor's office. We were hoping to find maybe an autoclave or something of the sort. I believe they can appear at doctor's offices. We'll check the police station, maybe we'll break into the armory. You know, I just want to do something other than drive around, frankly, is what I want to do. Ultimately, we probably will move south and start clearing this area because the subway station is here. So we're going to want to push through this town. And if we're going to do that, we might as well hit a lot of these neater, more valuable locations as we go. Pretty big urban city generation here. It's cool to see it take up a whole block, because you don't see stuff like that very often. But anyway, and what is this here? An apartment tower. I do like apartment towers, but they are just they're just houses basically stacked on top of each other, so it's not any super valuable loot. The issue with the apartment tower as well, no, you're gonna bleed out, I think. Yeah. So the issue with the apartment tower as well is that many of the monsters on the roof and nearby might hear these gunshots and come falling down to earth. So that's something we need to be mindful of as well. And we are going to go through a lot of ammunition as we clear these areas. Oh, you're bloated, zombie. No, you stay away from me, please. We don't want to get the toxic gas. It reduces your strength by 3, I think. And we are already penalized. Our strength is already penalized due to us being under the effects of a common cold, which is obviously not ideal circumstance. So we probably shot about 40 rounds here. We'll check our ammunition here in a moment. We'll just pulp these corpses. I do think at some point we should swing by and get more ammo. We have seen multiple military helipads. No, not helicopter. There's a military, yeah. So these red helipads are going to have 4 turrets at the corners. Or at least a turret. We've seen them already. Wow, we've seen a lot of these helipads. And of course, each of those turrets has many rounds in it. I believe we still have a grenade somewhere in our vehicle, so we could just walk up, throw a grenade, walk away, and should be pretty easy. I believe we did raise our throwing skill in this playthrough. Throwing 1. I thought we had throwing 2 before we threw the grenade last time. There is a thing called skill rust in the game where you gradually lose percentage if you don't use a skill for a while. I don't know if that's enabled by default. I don't remember. And I think that's based on your intelligence. So I don't know, maybe we did rust out of that skill. Kevlar zombie is never a good sign. And remember in the last episode we did say we kind of wanted to push over here so we could pulp these other corpses, because we did drive through here and hit a few enemies, and we should really pulp them before we move on, just to take them out of the equation permanently. Where's this Kevlar? You're the Kevlar zombie. Once wearing some kind of uniform with heavy bulletproof material sewn in. At this point it's impossible to tell what kind of uniform it was. Monster's skin has grown over the fabric, splitting and tearing into shreds, turning the remaining Kevlar and other parts of armor material into part of its hide. And its hands similarly have fused into large leathery cudgels. Sure. I can hear my neighbor's motorcycle down the block, which means he's probably coming home. And these recording issues kill me, because like no matter what you think, internet, I don't know. And I don't know if you can hear his motorcycle. It'll be outside my window here for a minute. But then it'll go away, so don't worry too much about that. But anyway, I don't know how much... I don't know what people think about it. Like, when I complain about recording issues, it's not because I don't... It's not purely just a frustration of like, oh, I can't record, or it's what I want to do, everyone else should bow down to what I want to do. It's not like that. It's more like YouTube is my hobby. You know, in addition to, like, ideally over time, right? You want to make money doing it. But for the most part, YouTube is a thing that I do for fun. And it's just kind of a feels bad. Like, imagine that you were, geez, I don't know, like you were going to go bowling with your friends, and then someone else, oh yes, I didn't even see the zombie there. Let's stop. Like, say you were going to go bowling with your friends, and then out of nowhere, someone is like, oh, you can't do that today. It's kind of like, you know, just, you get in your head, oh good, more grenades is actually really fantastic. Always good to have grenades. For the exact reason we just discussed about the turrets. It's the easiest way to deal with a turret that's not using an exploit. So yeah, that's great. I'm pretty sure we have entrenching tools, but we'll take one anyway. We're just burning through our bullets here, which is not great. What are you? What are you? Oh, you're another acidic zombie. Man, it's a lot of you that we've seen so far. I do love that when you shoot them, they instead of blood spatter, it spews acid. I think that's a great little touch. I know robots do that too. I think they spray like robot fluid or whatever, like hydraulic fluid or whatever. Anyway, it's just a bummer, you know, because you get in your head like, oh, I'm going to do this right now. And then you're excited. I can't tell you how many times I literally am like, okay, it's time to record. And I set up my microphone. I put a sign on my door so my family knows I'm recording. And then I start up Cataclysm. I review the previous episode so I know what to talk about. And I sit down, I push record, and then someone starts mowing, like literally that second. Or literally I sit down to record and then the fire siren goes. And it's like, oh man, like it's not that it's a bad thing, you know, like it happens. What are you going to do? But it feels bad every time. Yes, stop. Where is there a fat... Hello, fat zombie. I did not even see you there. We want to get rid of this acidic zombie. He is a priority for us to deal with there. So we did find some ammunition there, but not for a gun that we have. Here we have a single barrel shotgun. I have better shotguns, but we will take your double-aught shot. And then let's... Why are these grenades not stacked? Why are you separate entries? Anyway, it's 380. I don't know that I have a gun for 380, but whatever. And we are burning through our clips, or magazines. We do have 48 rounds left. Just something to be mindful of. We do need to step back to the vehicle and reload as necessary. Hazmat zombie actually has a hazmat suit on it. Unfortunately, it's very damaged, and there was a... So we discuss hazmat suits all the time in the Discord. And hazmat zombies and the other environmental suits. And we really should have it so you can't repair them, but the reality is you can repair a hazmat suit pretty easily. We don't have the skill to do it, is the main thing for us at the moment. How do I page down here? Completely protects you from electricity, from gas, from radiation. It keeps you from getting wet unless you jump in a river or something like that. I love that that's still a line. That line's been in the game since I started playing like 4 years ago. So I think that The protection values aren't super high on the hazmat suit. I think it's like the AMBC suit, the AEP suit. Those are the ones that have the really high protection value. And honestly, I don't think I'll ever wear a hazmat suit. It's one of those things that's like for specific situations, and I just would not wear it really ever. So like if I were going into, like if I were doing the hub missions, which I'm not going to spoil the hub missions, but there is one that involves a lot of gas. And if I were going into that circumstance, I would wear a hazmat suit, or at the very least a gas mask. But I just don't foresee me doing that. What is in Ibashi? A high black cap with a very narrow top, traditionally worn by Shinto priests. I think I can picture what that is. I believe I've seen those before. Not in real life, but in photos and stuff. You exploded. What a peculiar... It exploded and it showed a fire animation. And I was like, oh my god, what was that? That blew up into a fireball. But it didn't. It just exploded in gore and released the flesh raptors. So it's pretty interesting that it shows the explosion animation. We're going to miss this guy until he gets really close. Oh, we actually hit him, which is really good news. Because they have an impale attack that I believe knocks you down. Which is super, super bad. You can get stun locked by flesh raptors pretty easy. Alright, so that pupating zombie burst. It doesn't look like they leave a corpse behind. It looks like it's just gore. So we don't have to worry about pulping them. What did I call it a pupating zombie? I think I called it something else, but whatever. Alright, so... 90 rounds later, we've cleared our way into the town a little bit. Ignore, I'm not really worried about a standard zombie. Kevlar vest, we'll take that. If for nothing else, we can get some plates out of it. Oh, no, do not pulp the acid-filled corpse. I did not realize that was an acid zombie. It's cool that they have a warning for that. I don't think that used to exist when I first started playing. So here again we can see some monster density coming out of this building. It doesn't look like they fell off the roof. It looks like they were just inside. It's a bit odd that they never came out in all the shooting that we did. In fact, there's some broken stuff throughout. So I'm guessing they got trapped in here trying to walk across and got stuck. We should be okay. There are some to our west as well we need to be mindful of. Ignore. The brute is a concern, but we have the rounds to deal with that. And we're just going to continue plinking through these enemies here. So where's this brute? To the north, I bet. Like far to the north here. No? Oh yeah, okay. So we just need to keep an eye on the brute. It is faster than me, not surprising. See a Z9 as well. I believe those are the ones that can drop the Kevlar dog harness. So that's one we might have some interest in. Again, to get some Kevlar. Keeps warning me about the brute. Shoves the electric bicycle out of their way. I just imagine this angry zombie just like furiously shoving at a bicycle. Okay, why don't we back off to see if they come over here. We'll pulp a couple corpses and let them get closer. Brute spotted, not a concern. Okay. How are we doing round-wise? 9 rounds left, 1 magazine. Yeah, we're going to burn through a lot of bullets clearing this town, especially once we get down to the parks. If we get down to the park and the... oh, you misfire with a muffled click. Oh, no. If we get down to that park and pool and there's like literally 100 enemies, we may just walk away, but I do really want to try to sneak. We could try to sneak in to the bookstore and just be quiet and not make a lot of noise, but... that's pretty dangerous. We recommend all the time when a new player comes in, no Kevlar dog harness. That's a bummer. When a new player comes in, we'll often tell them, hey, you should raid at night. It's much safer, whatever. But the reality is raiding during the day, like, yes, it's more work because you have to actually physically fight the zombies. Whereas if you were playing at night, you could maybe sneak in and sneak out and not have to fight. But the reality is, if you explore during the day, you have excellent vision in all directions, so you can see when something is going to sneak up on you, right? If you run out of ammo and you try to fire, does it let you fire and take up your time? Or does it immediately tell you that you don't have ammo? Because I kind of wish it would just be like, it would let you go into the fire menu, you could aim and then push the button and it would click instead of firing. I think that would be pretty cool, or more realistic, or whatever you want to call it. I think that'd be neat. So we got rid of that acidic zombie, which was one of our priorities. Just no good loot on these zombies, man. I really wish some of you had. Let's reload our magazine. We should reload. Oh, do I have 2 more magazines? I thought I only had 1. Oh, I do have 2. Oh, we didn't spend as many bullets as I thought we did. Well, great. Ignore. And we did see a cop zombie around, and there it just prompted us about a SWAT zombie. It'd be really nice to get some SWAT armor. I think would be an interesting replacement for what we've got going on now. I don't really want your backpack. I think I don't really want that. Laptop has a medium battery, we'll take that. We also see a pet pack, which allows us, I believe, to carry something like a chicken with us, if we were so inclined. Did that put that in my inventory, by the way? It did. Oh, we should talk about something instead of just focusing on murdering stuff, I guess. I don't know what to talk about. Oh, my first video of Circadian Dice went up today. Again, if you have not heard of that, it's a free dice building roguelite. So it's kind of like a deck builder, but you use dice instead of a deck of cards. You replace the faces of your dice, and oh god, zombie dog, you blended in right with the sidewalk. I thought you were way up here still. That's why I was backtracking. I thought I had to get eyes on it again. You blend right in with the sidewalk, my man. Man, I can't talk today. Alright, well, you were attacked. Ignore. Yeah, we need to stop. So what's happening there is I pressed F and I pressed P, and what P does is it waits for your maximum aim. Problem is, dog is fast, so dog is hitting me over and over and over. So every time I press P, it interrupts me and it resets my aim, but P is still active, so it's still trying to wait for that maximum aim, and then I get hit again, and so on and so forth, and it's a loop. So we don't want to get stuck in that. We are bleeding, not really a huge concern. I think if we sprint away from it, we'll get enough space that we can get some shots off. Now the zombie dog, unfortunately, is not only hard to hit, but they're a little more resistant to ammunition for bullets. So yeah, they're much more concerning than your standard zombie dog, although obviously standard zombie dogs are quite fast as well. Let's apply a bandage. Might as well, we're just standing around. Pulp the brute. Of course, nothing on the brute. Has an engagement ring. Sure, we'll pick that up. Maybe I'll meet a nice NPC lady at some point, and we could roleplay having a family or something. I don't know. Maybe I could trade it to Survivor or something. I do think that's one of those things that's like really uncommon in zombie loot is wedding rings and stuff. They should be on basically every corpse. You know, at least in the United States, when you get married, pretty much everybody wears their ring. You know, it's like a thing, like culturally, like if your spouse is not wearing their ring, look at this huge streak of blood. It's just the whole way down the road. My goodness. In fact, look at this. Look at what we've done. Oh, these street cleaners are going to be so mad at us. All right. Anyway, it's a cultural thing in the United States. If your spouse doesn't wear your wedding ring, oh boy, that's a recipe for getting in an argument. So we did not mark our car. We definitely should do that. Let's mark that immediately. And what we have is the remember vehicle position. Basically, if you've never seen this or used this, if we press this button, it will now be marked on our map. You'll see this C here is marked as our car. In fact, if we name it, let's name it something. How do I rename? Rename. What do we want to call this thing? Usually I go something simple, murder mobile, things like that. Trying to think of something clever. I did just watch Grave Encounters 2, which is a terrible movie, by the way. I would not recommend. I don't even think the first one was very good, but I watched it for a horror podcast, and in that is a person called Death Awaits. So maybe we'll go Death Awaits. I think is a solid name. Don't really like the movie, frankly, but it's a solid name. So does that update what it says on the map? Good. So if you have multiple vehicles as well and you're tracking their positions, it will show their name as well, so you could identify, like, say you have a motorcycle and a deathmobile, and then when you're ready for transport, you put your motorcycle on your deathmobile and drive away. So this would allow you to have different names. So Death Awaits is a pretty decent name. I do not recommend watching those movies. Those are not very good movies. They did try some unique stuff, but like there's a thing in the second one that's very 1408, which is a really good movie. I really like 1408. It's John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson's in it, and that woman whose name I can never remember. I like 1408. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So I don't think we're interested in looting the houses. I think we'll press through the middle here and check out the doctor's office, but let's reload all of our magazines. No, don't reload with the clips. Let's do this through the inventory. That way we can, no, stop. That way we can specify which magazine, I always say clip, is being reloaded. If we have a weapon in our hands and we just hit the R key, it's going to try to reload that weapon with a different magazine, whereas we want to, obviously refresh our magazines themselves, not just put a new one in the gun. I do think we'll take the spear this time. We are coughing heavily, so let's take a shot of cough syrup, preferably the non-drowsy time. It's only noon, so we don't want to take the drowsy kind and then be tired right away, because we want to explore while it's daylight. So our med pile is up here, and if I recall, we have so much cough syrup that we probably don't ever need to worry about sourcing it from bee balm. Yeah, we probably could get away with just taking it at the drowsy kind and being tired, but I don't think we want that right now. Also, it really irks me that drinking cough syrup in this game makes you instantly tired. I feel like that should be a gradual effect. In fact, a lot of effects in this game are like that, where they're instantaneous, and I really feel like someone should go through and make them like what's the word? Like they should have different levels of intensity. Like we talked about the cold in a previous episode. I feel like the cold should have stages, like infection does, or some of our other effects. So I would like it to be like, the first like day or two, you're like, okay, you kind of have a catch in your throat, you don't feel very well, but it doesn't have any negative impacts on you whatsoever. Then after a day or two, it's like, okay, you're coughing a lot, you don't feel well, your strength is maybe reduced a little bit, and then you can go into like full-blown cold. It's like you got chills, you're maybe you're shaking a little bit, you're coughing constantly, your strength is severely reduced, like it is now. It's like what, -3, I think, from the common cold. So you go maximum now, and then it goes away, and then you're cured again. So I really wish it was layered like that. Okay, so because of the police station, I think is why we're seeing these SWAT zombies. No, I don't care about batteries. Where are the zombies? SWAT zombie and a zombie cop, but they're at a house. So it could just be completely random gen and not a product of that police station at all. I was gonna let a few of you come and try to melee you, but you're really clustered together. What in God's name is this thing? What are you? A crouching zombie that's grabbing its chest? Is it flashing me? Is that what this zombie is doing? Are you lifting your shirt to flash me? My God, Cataclysm, oh, dirty game. So it's the Screecher zombie. What are you? I thought they were called Screamers. Chest swollen in what appears to be preparation. Thick black ooze drips from its mouth. Is this like an upgraded Screamer? I could swear they were called Screamers. Am I misremembering? Shriekers and then Screechers would be my guess. It is color-coded red. I think they're called Shriekers, and then this must be an upgrade. Chest is swollen, huh? I guess is what that is. So that makes me think of Resident Evil 6. There were the zombies that could scream, and they had this kind of like a bladder, like in their chest and throat, and they would take a deep breath and it would swell up, and then it would scream. I know Resident Evil 6 is like one of the least liked Resident Evil games, but and they definitely did not do a great job with it. They put cinematic moments above gameplay experience and things like that. Well, regardless of what it is, it apparently can't handle a couple bullets, so not terribly concerned. How's our rifle skill doing, by the way? 3. I mean, that seems reasonable. We haven't been shooting that much. Obviously, we would like that to be higher. That helps, you know, obviously raising a skill in a firearm makes us more efficient with it at range and things like that. But we're doing just fine. And I think you're the last one. You have a little bit too much health. I don't know if you're going to bleed to death, but we'll back off and let things shake out a little bit. Okay. Oh, there is one more. My mistake. Hello. Hello, regular zombie. Unfortunately, I dropped my spear way back here, so I can't swap to melee. In fact, where did I drop my spear? Must be under one of the corpses. It's not under one of the corpses. Where'd my spear get to? I dropped it over by the house, right? I hate when this happens. Where... I bet if you went back through this series, I bet I've lost my spear at least 3 times. It's over here somewhere. We'll figure it out. Doesn't really matter. Let's dispatch this final zombie. In fact, you'll bleed to death as well. So let's go back and pulp this guy. My neighbor is clearly dragging some sort of metal across the ground, so I don't know what that sound is, but super exciting. I try not to hate on my neighbors. Like, I know we have talked about them at length, and it's because it obviously impacts... What are you doing, bro? Oh, I think he's hosing something down, like a big plastic bucket or something. Anyway, I know I complain about them frequently, and there's a good reason for that. Like, obviously, it affects our recording stuff, but I don't know. I feel bad that I badmouth my neighbors so much. You know, I think when they first moved in, I talked about how everyone, you know, I know called them hillbillies and stuff like that, and I feel guilty about it. All right, so where would my spear have gone? Because I definitely... Oh, you're survived. Oh, this house was boarded up. Yeah, I should have been paying attention to that because there's clearly going to be enemies in there. I'm still a bit baffled where my spear went. Spear. Oh, I dropped it way over there. We could have meleeed that guy. All right. You're pretty fast. Why don't we pop you once and we'll sprint away. And I was gonna swap to melee, but I think we'll just shoot you and then let you bleed out as well. So a survivor or zombie, actually pretty good chance to have some survivory gear on them. It's not a good percentage. I do feel like because they're intended to be basically... So a survivor zombie is basically a player type character who is surviving after the apocalypse, who has then died and become a zombie. So I really, really, really wish they made these guys have better loot. Not only better loot, but like a % chance of having like exceptional, very, very good loot. And they really don't. They can have some good stuff, some good tools, things like that. But for the most part, they are just not as... I feel like they should have better loot than they do, is basically what it comes down to. But I feel that way about a lot of zombies, actually. And I recognize, like, not every zombie is going to have good stuff on it. Like, here we have a standard zombie. What's it really going to have? Most of them are just going to have clothing, maybe a wallet, maybe they have a gun in their pocket or some loose pills or something. But for your average zombie, probably not going to be a lot of stuff. But when you have, like, and we talked about this, I think, in the last episode, the hazmat zombie like we saw, or the survivor zombie, you know, something that lore-wise or roleplay-wise or whatever would have good stuff. I don't understand why we are so stingy instead of just giving out loot. Like, people talk about balance and all that stuff, but like, from a realistic perspective, if someone was surviving the apocalypse, they probably do have a big backpack on, even as a zombie, you know, if it was strapped to them securely, like a big travel pack or hike pack or whatever. Maybe they drop it somewhere, but maybe they still have it on them, you know. It depends on the zombie, where it's been. This zombie has been locked in a house. How active could it have been in there, you know, that it would have lost its pack or whatever, and I just feel like they should have better stuff on them, like survival tools, better knives, you know, like bigger packs, maybe some armor, maybe some actual guns on them. That's one of the things that really bothers me. They almost never have guns on them, despite the fact that every survivor would have a gun if they were able, you know. I feel like I'm fighting off a hiccup here. Go back to the M4 to deal with the cop zombie, because armor-wise we might have some difficulty. I think we can pick this up without getting hit. Nope. Got hit multiple times, and he sliced my pants. You douchebag. Get away from me. Why aren't you bled out yet? Oh, are you not even bleeding? Minor bleeding. Okay, well. Put him down. Any gear on you? You do have a baton. Batons are pretty nice, but we're way past that point. Riot helmet. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I know, I feel like I'm complaining about zombie loot now. But this is a SWAT zombie. This one is actually a cop zombie. But what is the difference between a cop zombie and a regular zombie? Well, it should have cop type stuff on it. And cops in the apocalypse probably going to gear up with the best armor that they can get. And the reality is, most of the time you get a helmet and no armor. It just doesn't really make sense. Same with the SWAT zombies. A SWAT zombie is clearly like the only thing that differentiates a cop zombie from a regular cop, a cop zombie from a SWAT zombie, is that the SWAT zombie is referenced as wearing SWAT armor. So why don't they drop SWAT armor 100% of the time? The character is intended to be a SWAT armored creature. It should drop SWAT armor, you know? I don't know, stuff like that. The inconsistency with stuff like that has always bothered me. It used to be much worse. We're way better now than we were when I started playing. When I started playing, you would get nothing from anywhere, from loot, from corpses. It doesn't matter. We used to have nothing. But anyway, I think we're good. I should really have gotten a random question or something. Oh, I did start talking about circadian dice, but I don't think anyone likes that. It did not do well. I started posting those videos on my channel, and yeah, people clearly don't want to watch that. So I don't know what to make of that. It's a really good game, and it's free on itch.io. You should check it out. Circadian dice, like circadian rhythm, but dice. But anyway, I think we're gonna call the episode here. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I, of course, will be back with more Cataclysm in the near future. I'll see you in the next video.